in this series, we are discussing about famous personalities in the world. Out of that, first thing is that we are only considering famous personalities. We are not saying whether that person was right or wrong. Anything we are not saying. Only thing is that we are giving brief information about that person. So in this series, you will come to know various famous personalities in the world. We are discussing about a great person in world, that is Chengis Khan. Now I am pronouncing again, try to get concentrated on this pronunciation. We are pronouncing as Chengis Khan, but original it is said it is Chingiz Khan also. Whereas in English he is marked as Genghis Khan. So like that, various pronunciations are there. So either Chengis Khan, Chingiz Khan or Genghis Khan. Person is same and none of the name is his name. His original name is Temujin. So the person was Mongol by race. So I am showing your map. In our regular lectures we are drawing out map, but here I am intentionally showing the map because I have to show entire world here, because Chengis Khan's efforts are so great that we have to show various nations in the world, and therefore I am showing here the map. So this is, you can check out Mongolia. So he was basically from Mongolia. Just introduction, this is China or Chin. This is Kazakhstan, or in those days it was called as Central Asia or steppes of Central Asia. North side, now it is Russia. But in old days it was just we can say USSR. But at the time of Genghis Khan, this was not Russia. Now, what is the peculiarity about Genghis Khan? The first thing, his name was not Genghis Khan, his name was Temujin. Many people think this way, that Khan is named, that means that person must be a Muslim person. So this is biggest mystery about Genghis Khan, that by going by his name, many people consider him as a Muslim person, but he was not Muslim. He was following religion that is named as Tengri. So that is something, religion in northern Mongolian part, some god is there according to them, and they are following that religion. So that is called as Tengri. But Genghis Khan was tolerant to all religion, whatever his empire was there. Genghis Khan, following this religion as Tengri religion, his original name was Temujin. At his time, Mongolia was divided into smaller tribes. As you are aware that in history, we are aware of Hun people. The Huns, they were also belonging to Mongolian territory, most probably. But they wiped out worldwide population. This incident happened somewhere around 0080 onwards. So, after nearly 1000 years, again their population was actually growing population, and then they faced certain problems like scarcity of food in their territory because population was growing. The Mongol tribes were fighting with each other, and he wanted to stop all these things. He was actually son of king, a smaller tribe's king like that, but he lost out his father in his early childhood only, and then other members of their tribe denied leadership to Chengis Khan or to Temujin. In latter phase, he managed everything and he united all Mongol tribes with, obviously, he was having revenge. The one tribe who killed his father, another tribe enslaved him. So that revenge was also taken with their Mongol tradition. So brutally they were killing out all people of their tribes. So like that things he carried out, and he first consolidated his Mongolia. You are aware and not aware, then listen, that when Huns means some 1,000 years ago, these people were there in Mongolia, they were nomads. They were attacking China continuously. To stop their attack, China constructed a great wall of China over here. Because of that, Mongols were not readily able to go inside China. And that's why Huns displaced out from Mongolia and started plundering worldwide. After 1,000 years, same thing happened again. The first, Mongolia united under leadership of Temujin. Then he was entitled as Genghis Khan, meaning overlord of the world, or a person who is next to God. So like that title. So this is spiritual backing. If you check out worldwide, this happened, that when emperor start developing his empire, many times they were considered as son of God or next to God, like that. Like Alexander the Great, Greek emperor, also having same thing, that when he conquered Egypt, the chief priest of Egypt honored him as a son of God. So like that spiritual title he was having, that is Chingiz Khan. Now pronunciation wise, some pronunciation problems are there. And so sometimes we listen this as Genghis Khan. So this way, this Genghis Khan now attacked over China. Northern China was attacked, and with consistent war, it is not that only one day they were able to do, but with consistent warfare, they were able to make their empire in China. So this way, Mongols were able to conquer China. But the thing is that, why Chengis Khan? He was nomad, following tribal tradition, whereas China was well advanced at that time. And still, why they were able to overrule the China? Actually, the war techniques are more responsible. The Mongols were able to ride. They were very good horse riders, and they were very good mounted archers. Mounted archers means they were controlling their horse with only legs, and both hands were free for archery. They were having a special type of bow that is called as composite bow, which was much more effective in spite of its smaller in size. Range was much more, and speed of arrow, that's why momentum and impact of that arrow was much more. And so China was able to, Mongols were able to overrule this Chinese territory. They were having well-disciplined army. Chengis Khan managed this to make well-disciplined army, and then he was able to conquer parts of China. Then there was rivalry between Iran. The Turkish emperor was controlling Iran at that time, and then there was rivalry between them, and then he attacked over Iran. So from from China to Iran, then his army entered in Europe also, and this way they carved out a vast empire over here. The empire was so great at that time that if you are talking about Alexander the Great, I am showing here, the Alexander the Great's empire was here till river Indus, this part, and Egypt. So one corner of Chengis Khan's empire, whereas Chengis Khan's empire was controlling China, northern China, western China, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan's part, this part Iran, Central Asian part, till Iraq, Central Asia, Europe, and all that. So this is wide empire produced by Chengis Khan. Only Britishers in modern period were able to build out vast empire, which is greater in size than Chengis Khan's empire. So if you are thinking about world's greatest empire, then out of that, in old period, particularly ancient and medieval period, we can say that Chengis Khan was great emperor at his time. He managed, no doubt, he was very, very cruel man. he brutally killed out many people. The Mongol tradition was that they were slaughtering out the conquered people, and they were collecting out their heads and making tower of the heads of women, small children, male, everybody. They were having heads, so they were making tower of head, or rather that tower I should call as pyramid of head they were creating, and they destroyed vast population in the world, creating out a vast empire over here. And then onwards, these emperors troubled world again. So if we have to estimate Chengis Khan, and one more important thing, after looking at his world, Chengis Khan realized that Mongolia is only nomadic nation. Not a single city is there in Mongolia. And so he developed city in Mongolia, that is today's Mongol capital, that is Ulaanbaatar. So this is something about Chengis Khan. Whether there was communication between India and Chengis Khan. Answer that yes. At that time, India was ruled, particularly northern part of India only, that was ruled by slave dynasty. Iltutmish was a slave of Muhammad Ghori. He was ruling over India. Whereas another slave of Muhammad Ghori, named as Yalduz, he was controlling Afghanistan. So Chengis Khan was about to control Afghanistan. And at that time, Yalduz asked help of Iltutmish, but Iltutmish refused to help him. And then Chengis Khan sent letter to Iltutmish that you are wise diplomat. And then Chengis Khan went out. So directly Chengis Khan didn't attack over India, and India was saved. But in latter phase, the Mongol Empire, which was remaining over here, they continued to attack over India. Out of that, prominent Mongol warriors, they were Targhi Khan, Taimur Kutlak Khwaja, and lastly Zairuddin al-Muhammad Babur. These are prominent warriors, Mongol warriors, who invaded India time to time. Out of that, Targhi Khan was ruling over Punjab territory. Ultimately, he was defeated by slave dynasty's last ruler Balban. Kutlak Khwaja was able to reach till Delhi. Around 2 lakh Mongol soldiers were there with him, but he was executed and defeated, or rather defeated and executed by Alauddin Khilji. Whereas Taimur Lung was able to plunder Delhi and appointed their heir as Sayyid on Delhi. And Sayyid dynasty was ruling over Delhi after Taimur Lung's return back. For nearly 50 years, Sayyid dynasties were ruling over Delhi. And then you are aware that Babur arrived in India. Babur was from 5th generation, from mother's side. His 5th ancestor was Chengis Khan. Whereas from father's side, his 3rd ancestor was Taimur Lung. So like that, great Mongol riders, blood was there in Babur. So this is the thing. But Taimur Lung onwards, various changes occurred in Mongol community. Out of that, at around half of the life of Taimur Lung, he accepted Islam. And then onwards, the Mongols were converted to Muslim. Even Kutlak Khwaja, when he was executed, his army was trapped by Alauddin Khilji, and Alauddin Khilji forced them to accept Islam. And so like that, Islam spread out in Mongol. In latter phase, Babur was hating out termed as Mongol, so he coined term as Mughal. So these are latter impacts of Chengis Khan's invasion. Even certain Mongol invaders, they destroyed caliphate also. For example, Hulagu or Halagu Khan, he was plundered out Baghdad and defeated Khalifa at Baghdad. So like that things happened. So particularly this was Mongolization of this particular era. They were ruling over vast empire. So these all things were created, initiated by Chengiz Khan. Thanks for observing video. We are discussing like that various famous personalities. I am not telling this is right or wrong. That means person was right or wrong. Only information in brief about that personalities.